morning. I'm Kim.
I'm Jen.
And we are your favorite occupational therapists, back to talk about infant development between the ages of 0 to 6 months, what to expect, and how to play with your child. So from 0 to about 2 months, we want the kids to spend a lot of time on their tummies. That's where they start to develop their head control. That's where they start to prop up on their forearms and they develop upper trunk strength. That's the building block for all of the other mobility skills that will follow that. Jen's going to pull up a couple toys that will help them hold their heads up when they're on their tummies. So what we have there is, very early on, kids primarily see black and white. So you can see that they've got some very bright black and white images there. Kids like to see faces, so you see the animal faces. A couple months later, they will see bright colors like red, so you're able to flip that over, and you see that. It's got a mirror. Again, kids like to see faces, so they'll look at themselves. They don't recognize that it's themselves, but they like the face, so that'll help them hold their heads up longer. And then there's some musical toys. Kids love music at that age. So Jen's got an image of a musical toy.
I have a real live musical toy here. So I like this one because it plays music and it scrolls, so they get some visual tracking in there as well. So they like that.
Yeah, one of the things that we've noticed, we've both been therapists for about 75 years, and since that the pediatricians have started the Sleep on Your Back program to prevent SIDS, a lot of times our kids don't want to do the tummy time, and I've sort of noticed that our kids are getting delayed with their gross motor skills because tummy time is the building block for all the other motor skills that follow that. So we want to make sure, even if they're crying, that they spend that time on their tummy. They're going to be most interested in looking at you, so you can get on the floor, recline in front of them, make silly faces at them, and they're going to want to be on their tummy for a longer period of time.
Yeah, so studies show that by 4 months, you should be spending about 80 minutes on your tummy, not at one time, but throughout the day. It's a lot of time. Especially for kids that don't love tummy time. So make sure that we start young and build up to that, because it's really important for, as Kim said, development for a lot of other areas.
After 2 or 3 months, as they're on their tummy, you're going to notice that they'll be on their forearms first, and then they're going to start pushing up on straight arms. Once they start doing that, they're going to accidentally roll from their tummy to their side, or maybe all the way over. It's going to be accidental at first, but then they'll go, oh, that was kind of fun, and they're going to continue to do that. So that's another reason that we want them on their tummies a whole lot. After they start rolling, they may also start pivoting on their bellies. So they may start facing you. You may go into the kitchen, 5 minutes later, you come back, they're 90 degrees over to the right. And you can put some interesting toys over there to grab their interest, to see if you can get them pivoting on their belly. You can have some musical toys over there, some bright colored toys over there. Once they get on their back, oh, Jen?
I have this toy that I like a lot because it is very soft. It's got a mirror on the end and it rolls. So when it starts rolling, it squeaks and rolls. I don't know if you can hear it, but once it starts moving, and it crinkles, they have to like go get it. So they're super motivated by that.
Yeah, that's a great toy. Once they're on their back, they can start playing with their hands a little bit more. Their hands are free now. And they start batting at things at 4 or 5 months old. So Jen's going to pull up an activity gym that you could put over them that they're able to bat. And while she pulls that up, if you don't have one, you can make one. I had a very clever mom make one out of a yardstick. So it's 3 feet long. She had chairs, and she put the yardstick between the backs of the chairs, and then she hung some toys off of that. And her child was able to bat at the toys. At first, they're going to start, again, being interested in black and white toys. Here's a perfect example, a lot of black and white toys and brightly colored toys. So putting your child underneath that, make sure that those toys are at a height where they're able to touch them. Jen, you have some rings where they can add to
the I have some extra rings. So you can see how these are attached to rings, and these easily come off, and they easily come off, and you can add or subtract as many rings as you want. We want to make sure when the kids are little that they are batting at those toys so that they get the feedback that they need. At first it's an accident, but then it becomes more purposeful. So if the toys are too high, they're going to lose interest. It'll be visually pleasing, but they won't use their arms to bat at it. So we want to make sure that we lower the toys enough so that they hit the toys by accident.
And we don't really expect kids to grab at a toy until 4 or 5 months. So you don't need to worry about that. We just really want them to bat. And then they may bat and then all of a sudden just grab onto one of those toys there. And we've got some images of other toys that are great starting toys when kids start to grab things. When they first start grabbing things, we want to make sure that it doesn't hit them in the face because they will drop them. So everything that we're bringing up are soft toys that have a lot of textures, a lot of colors. These crinkle toys are great. They can hear the noise when they're gripping on them. They can put the tags in their mouth. That's a great teether ball. You can see it's got knobs on the end and different kind of textures for them. This is one of my favorites. It's made by Lamaze, but there are different soft textured balls and it's easy for their little hands to grab those. And again, if they drop and hit their face, they're not going to be injured at all.
And what's important about the textured balls is that kids are bringing toys to their mouth, and it's important that they get all those different textures in their mouth as well as their hands because of all the sensory receptors. So we want them to feel soft and smooth and bumpy and crunchy and all those kinds of things with that one toy. This toy is nice because they can get their little fingers in there. It's easy to grab onto. Let's see what else we have. Oops, they don't want to let me do that. We showed that one already.
Oh, we love this. So at about 5 months, kids start to bring their toes up to their face, and that's about the same time that they really start rolling a lot, rolling over and over again. This skill is so important, bringing their toes up, because it develops their core strength, and we want them to play with toys a lot. Sometimes it's fun to put on little socks or little ankle bracelets that make sound. That's a little more intriguing for them, and it facilitates their desire to reach down and touch those musical toys and touch the colors. So that's
this is also a really important, oops, sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
This is really an important skill for body image as well. It's the beginning of body image because they realize that the feet are part of their body. So when they sit up and they see their feet at a different angle, they realize that they're all connected. So it's a super important skill for sitting as well. There's another soft toy with different textures, easy to grab onto.
And they may, between 5 and 6 months, grab a toy and then pass it to the other hand, or they may start to grab a toy and then you give them a toy in the other hand and they'll drop it. That's normal. Between 5 and 6, they'll be able to hold a toy in each hand.
And here's a water mat. This is just fun because things start moving, and at 4 months they're on extended arms, so they're starting to get some of that strength to push up, and then they're going to get some weight shifting to lift an arm at about 5-6 months, lift an arm to reach for a toy. So this is when they start realizing that things move and that they have some control over that.
Yeah, and then that reaching up with one arm while they're holding themselves up with the other arm is really important because that's how they're going to think about creeping forward. One hand's got to come off the mat or off the floor and then pull themselves forward. So something like that is a great activity.
And this is just another example of a teether ball that is super easy to hold onto for their little hands. They can kind of grab onto it a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And then, between 4 and 5 months, they're rolling all over the place. And by 6 months, that's a whole different time for them. And it's a wonderful time for them. They may think about creeping forward on their belly. They're probably pushing backwards on their belly. Some kids, you can put them in sitting and they'll remain there. And we'll talk about that in another video. Anything else you want to add, Jen?
Nope. Have fun. Play with them. It's super important and super fun.
Thanks for joining us. And please like and subscribe. And we'd love to hear your comments.
Thanks.